Hey guys, if you watched that first video and you're still here, welcome to the first episode of He Tells podcast. Yeah, I recorded that video before this one like a month ago, and I still felt not ready and sort of lost, but here we are, starting in the unknown. Can anyone relate? Can anyone just drop a comment and let me know I am not alone? But honestly, I have been thinking about starting this for a while, like I said, 2 years ago. And I kept overthinking it and wondering if I needed to have everything figured out first. And I felt like God had been teaching me recently that I don't need to strive so much, that I don't need to perform, that I don't need to force things to happen in my own strength. I know we all do that, right? And I think in this season, God is teaching me how to rest in Him. And if I'm being honest, I'm still learning what that even looks like. Like, this podcast is really just going to be a space for deeper conversations about faith, obedience, healing, hearing God, and what it actually looks like to walk out with Him in real life, not just online, not just aesthetically, but honestly. And I don't want this to feel overly polished or fake. I just want it to feel real. Like I'm literally sitting here in my apartment complex communal office that's right next to the gym, right? Because for some reason it feels cuter than my unfurnished apartment that I have been living with my husband for the past 2 months because we just moved in and you know. So clearly I'm still learning, but I've been really someone who thinks deeply, like to the point till I got a master's degree in theology and I'm about to graduate. Not that not to be like whoo-hoo, but like that's how you know that I deeply like to understand things. And I want to understand what God is doing in my life. And over time, I realized that a lot of my relationship with God was mixed with striving to be better, striving to prove myself, striving to do enough. Even in Christian spaces, I sometimes felt pressure to always be productive, to always be growing, to always be doing something. And I think I slowly realized that I was exhausted spiritually. And I'm coming out of that. And it's not like God was asking too much of me, although sometimes it feels like that. But that's because my perspective was off, that's why we're talking today. But because I was carrying things that He never asked me to carry. We do that. And lately, I've been craving deeper conversations with God, slower conversations, quieter conversations, loud conversations, possibly, but in the idea of slowing down, being still, right? So, not just consuming quick content all day, because I know we all can do that, right? But actually just sitting with the Lord and asking Him, what are you trying to teach me now? Because you just teaching me, right? And I think that's why I started this podcast. I wanted to create a space where we could talk honestly about faith and obedience and healing without pretending that we have everything figured out. And I'm just so tired of that. Because I definitely don't. And you will clearly learn if you haven't learned already. And I honestly think sometimes online Christian content can feel very loud or feel performance based or just doesn't feel genuine to like the actual lives of God's people. And while there's nothing wrong with encouragement and inspiration, but I think a lot of people are secretly tired. I'm tired spiritually, tired emotionally, tired mentally. We tired. And I think a lot of us are longing for a space for clarity and genuine intimacy with God again. And the verse behind this podcast is 1 John 4:4, which says, greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. And I have been thinking about that verse differently. And when God gave that to me, I was like, that's interesting, Lord. And then He gave me He Tells podcast. I'm like, okay. Um, and obviously, it can be a spiritual warfare verse, right? Because greater is he that is in you, in me is greater than he that is in the world, right? But it's also personally, like if God truly lives in us, why do we spend so much of our lives striving, panicking, fearing, and trying to control everything ourselves? Why is rest so hard? Why is surrender so hard? And I feel like God has been gently showing me that hearing Him often happens in quiet places than we expect. Like, I don't know why this story popped up in my mind, but when Elijah in 1 Kings 19 wanted to die after a great victory, it was due to burnout and fear. And then he became depressed. Then God came through sending an angel to provide food, water, and rest, enabling him to continue his journey. And God didn't condemn him. And that may be you. You just need to go take a nap and get a snack, or get your snack, then take a nap, or whatever you want. But back to hearing God, it could just be hearing him, not in the dramatic moments, not in the emotions, not always through constant noise, but through stillness. Be still and know that he is God. Psalms 42:6-10, excuse me. But through peace, through obedience in everyday life. And I think I'm learning that discernment is not panic. God's voice is not confusion. And sometimes we can become so overwhelmed by noise, pressure, social media, comparison, productivity, and fear that we stop slowing down long enough to actually hear Him clearly. And I don't say this as someone who has mastered it. I'm literally learning this now. I have experiences. Um, and I'm learning how to stop striving. I really am. I'm trying with the Lord, right? I'm learning how to trust God more deeply, and I'm learning how to rest without feeling guilty. And I'm honestly still figuring out what healthy rhythms with God looks like in the season of my life. But I think that's why this podcast matters to me and to God most importantly, because He told me to do this at the top of the year, and here we are, right? And I'm just going to go with delayed obedience is still obedience. It still is if you do it. But and you repent because all right. But because I want I want this to be a space where we pursue God sincerely, not perform perfectly, because God doesn't want perfection. He expects perfection, like that's our aim. Because He says, "Be holy, for I am holy." But we have to do it with Him. So that's the heart behind He Tells podcast. I want this to be a space for real conversations about faith, healing, discernment, identity, obedience, and whatever the Lord puts in my heart, whatever that you guys suggest to talk about, and just what it looks like to walk with God in everyday life. Some episodes will probably be more conversational, some more reflective, and some more practical. But I really want to grow this naturally and let the Lord lead it. And if you're in a season where God is teaching you to slow down, to trust Him, and to hear Him clearly, or stop striving so much, I hope this podcast reminds you that you're not alone. Thank you for being here, seriously. And I'm excited for what's ahead. Pray for me that I continue to obey the Lord in this. See you guys in the next episode.